me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, gotta feel the tension. In my thoughts.
Welcome back, everybody. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you think about this video. Today, we're going to discuss basically that Tyreek Hill has been talking up a certain receiver on this squad and somebody that he is excited to see below what he has with Jalen Waddle and him. So obviously last year we had a prolific offense with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and that is going to continue this year. I think Tua is coming into his own and he's going to be excelling in the passing game, and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are just going to eat up yardage and catches and all that good stuff. Obviously we have two of the greatest receivers, but I think behind them we really didn't have much of anybody. I think 400 yards is what Trent Sherfield had, and obviously that's something that you can, judge and base upon that maybe that is pretty good, but we didn't really have a successful receiver behind Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And what we are talking about in this video is that we have some new receivers that have come in, but there's a specific one that we are going to talk about, and that is going to be Robbie Anderson. We got Robbie Anderson in this offseason, and what we have here is a 6'3" deep threat that is super fast. And what that is going to do, and something that Tyreek Hill has been talking about, is that is going to help in the red zone significantly. Obviously last year we had Gesicki, but this is a different style of receiver where he can now actually run routes much better than Gesicki can, and he is much faster, better hands, all of that good stuff, and can separate the field. So we'll go into the article right now by CBS NFL, and basically what Tyreek Hill was saying is that him at 6'3", I didn't know he was that tall and lanky and was able to catch the ball with ease. Tyreek Hill continued, he's definitely going to help us out in the red zone because he's a taller guy who can run some routes with me and JW, which is Jalen Waddle, and he can run routes that we might not be able to run. Having him is definitely going to be valuable. That is just a quick tidbit of what Tyreek Hill said about Chosen. And essentially what we are getting from this is, obviously we've heard the different things in training camp, and again, you can take it with a grain of salt or whatever you'd like to say, but also we are hearing a lot of good things about Robbie Anderson, and we're just seeing that he does not drop the ball at all, and he is super fast coming into this season. Robbie Anderson has had 1,000-yard seasons with other teams, with the Panthers, I believe it was, and the Jets. I don't know if it was 1,000 yards, but it might have been pretty close. But Robbie Anderson has had really great seasons, and he has not had good quarterbacks to really throw him the ball. So coming into the season, our team is based upon yards after catch. The yards after catch for each of the receivers, and that's why we got these different receivers, is because when they get the ball in their hands, if there is not a defender close to them, they are going to get probably 10, 12 more yards. And that is what is perfect about Robbie Anderson, is that he has 13 yards per catch in his career, which is pretty incredible. That means every catch that he's had is basically goes for just about 13 yards. And what that means is that he's going to be a perfect fit in this offense. Obviously, we have Izukanma and Braxton Berrios, which those are going to be good receiving threats as well. But I think receiver, the number 3 guy that is going to be behind Jalen and Tyreek is going to be Robbie Anderson. He has just been the most explosive out of any of the players that we have on this team besides them two. And I think Robbie is really showing that he is coming into the mold, coming into play. And again, there's a different quarterback. You don't have Sam Darnold throwing you the ball. You have Tua, and Tua is going to get him the ball. And what he does with it is going to be on him. And I just think it's going to be one of those things that, again, if you have all these different players that are all speedsters, that all of them, if you get the ball in their hands, it's going to be dangerous. Well, now you just added another one where Trent Sherfield, he kind of had some plays last year, but he wasn't the same thing as Robbie Anderson. He's not as fast, he's not as big. Going according to that is, I think it's going to be a much different thing when it comes to the red zone now, because now we have, I think we have a lot of speedsters, but they're small. Where now what Robbie Anderson gives you in the red zone is going to be that 6'3" guy that Tua can just kind of, Tua is one of the best at just placing the ball where it needs to be placed. And what this gives you with Robbie Anderson is you have a 6'3" guy so that Tua can know the route, know what he's going to run, and just place the ball exactly where Robbie Anderson can catch it and come down with it. A lot of the times last year, we had a lot of players where Tua would place the ball perfectly, they would drop it. And I think, again, you get more receivers that are much better to, mentally and they've had more experience. They don't drop passes like we had a lot last year. We had a significant amount of drop passes, including from Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, that honestly kind of affected games. Now this year, you come in, we're all going to have the hands that we need to have, and Robbie Anderson is going to give you that red zone threat where if Tua just places it perfectly, Robbie's going up and getting it. And that's just going to give you a different dynamic, whereas before it was Gesicki, but Gesicki couldn't block. So it kind of had to disguise different things, and you kind of knew what was happening with Gesicki. Now, Robbie Anderson, you don't have to do so many things to you can disguise things a lot better. You can disguise things a lot better because your tight ends can block and everybody can play the position properly. So now with Robbie Anderson, whatever route he's running, if he gets a little bit of separation in the end zone, Tua can just throw it up to him and he'll come down with it. And that's going to give us a different element that, Trent Sherfield and everybody else that we had on the team last year besides Gesicki gives you. And even Gesicki doesn't run routes as good as Robbie Anderson. So it gives you a different dynamic where Robbie Anderson can run a really nice, crisp, tight route, and Tua can just throw it up to him, and he'll come down with it. He's 6'3", so he's taller than most corners, and he has hands. He's had significantly good seasons. He's only 30 years old, which, relatively that's not that bad for a receiver. Receivers usually last to like 32, 33. So I think coming into the season, including last season, he didn't really have too much wear and tear on the tires just because he didn't play too much. Robbie Anderson is going to give you that different dynamic red zone threat that goes along with Tyreek Hill. Plus, he's much faster than any of the guys that we had last year. So now you spread the field even more with more receivers. And I think Tyreek Hill is really getting excited about Robbie Anderson. Everybody's talking about him. And the whole team is just starting to see that this could be something special coming out of this guy for this year. Robbie Anderson is going to be something exciting to watch. I just wanted to give you a quick video talking about, Tyreek Hill just came out and just basically was blessing the dude. So, and I think we've all seen it, that Robbie Anderson is turning into something pretty special. So we'll see what happens this year. But as always, hope you have a great rest of your day. Fins up, baby. Peace.